What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another Dadgood Community Podcast. You already know we're hanging out with the legends themselves. Our boy WD, Warren DeFriends, hanging out with us. You know him, you love him. Matt Campbell, Chief Revenue Officer, hanging out with us. MC in the house. As always, I'm your host, Chris Walcher. Our boy Guy Groskos, a little bit of a family emergency. I'm sure everything's going to be fine. He might check in sporadically through the course of this episode, but through the duration of his absence, our thoughts, our prayers, my boy. A toddler trip to the ER is never a fun one. But since I'm hanging out with you two lunatics, hashtag legends, if you will, excuse my French, there was something that was mentioned, I think it was by Matt last episode, where we were, first of all, I took the liberty to just kind of use that space to vent on my own, which, thank you. Not something that's granted to many dads or men to just be like, yeah, I'm going to record myself and really just like be vulnerable and talk about my situation. So you guys gave me a ton of advice, which I super appreciate. But there was something that Matt had mentioned with respect to your years or your life's seasons. And so I got to talk a lot about the season that I'm currently in, but it really did just kind of like punch my brain. Maybe WD will start out with you. Like, what season of your life are you in right now, man?
Yeah, man. And that is a great point, Matt. And life is just seasons or chapters, if you will. If you want to look at it like a book. And I mean, Chloe and I were talking about this. We talk about it often. It's just there's just ups and downs in each season, I think, and each season or each chapter is really kind of teaching you something, and some of them are really hard to sit in. They're hard to read through those chapters, and then other chapters you're like, man, I just want to stay in this chapter forever, but you can't, because you got to keep going to the next one. So I would say right now our chapter is it honestly feels like we're thick of it most days, guys. I'll be honest. I mean, it's just like, three little girls, which is the best blessing ever, but it's just, it's constantly, are we showing up as the best parents we can? Are we completely just failing them? And I think that's a little exaggerating. Obviously, we know we're not, but you
No, for
feel like
sure.
that sometimes, and you just,
Also,
it just,
like,
yeah,
dude,
just trying
your
to piece it
3
all together,
kids,
so.
your girls are in the most chaotic of stages.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what are their ages right now? You have like 5, 3, and 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It's gonna be
get
chaos.
out of here, bro. That's superhero status from any parent, because obviously there's the terrible twos. 3 is, dude, you're a lunatic, man.
And my
Like,
3-year-old Sophia is the middle child. So, the middle child also comes with like
yeah,
that. And then
dude.
Frankie
And
is just
is
like,
Sophia the craziest right now? Is she the off the rails, or who's
I
the
don't know.
leader of the pack
Let's
in
let's
terms
ask.
of let's do wrong?
Yeah, Chloe's over there eating. Chloe, who's currently like the craziest right now? Sophia? Yeah, probably Sophia. But like as far
Sophia?
as who runs it, like Frankie's always like running the show because she's 5.
Frankie's your
And
oldest, right?
yeah, she's just so sharp, and so like, she just knows what she's doing. Like when we're not around, I just imagine the combos and Chloe or Frankie just being like, now look, Sophia and Sloan, this is how it's gonna go down. Just like
Yeah,
sitting there, just kind of
like,
like just telling them, like, I'm like, hey girls, pick this up. I leave, and Frankie's like, look, Sophia, you go pick that stuff up, and then they just kind of let Sloan do whatever. Like she's just passing off all the responsibilities
dude,
and
I
stuff like
love
that.
it.
But yeah, dude, it's a crazy. I mean, and that's really what we do. We just try to take it day by day. Just probably like you guys do, just get through each day, and that's really just the season where I was just trying to figure out how to navigate, still having 3 children, even though I've had 3 children now for since Sloan was born
Yeah,
2
but they're
years
in,
ago.
like, that prime age, dude, like,
Yeah.
my 7-year-old and my 5-year-old share a room,
Mhm.
and, we just put in brand new carpet. There's, like, this rule, "Hey, no snacks, no eating in your room.
Yeah, no.
Literally do it in the hallway outside, I don't care, but you have this beautiful room." And my oldest, Bryn, I hear her from the top bunk to the bottom bunk, like, "Hey, yo, Kylie, you should just sprint downstairs. You go ahead and grab me some Cheez-Its, you get yourself some goldfish, and just book it, like, as quickly as possible." And the missus and I bedroom is downstairs, we keep our door open, and it's like, "Dude, I can hear you, bro. Like, what are you doing instigating this?" But to be fair, like, sometimes they pull it off, and they be bringing some snacks in the bedroom, and you can't even be mad, you know? A good Navy SEALs op, ring con, nobody can know, you sneak down and grab some Cheez-Its. Dude, that's what
Yeah, I can't
dreams are
even be
made of.
mad because I'm like notorious, even to this day, being like an old man now. Like I'm downstairs, like in my pantry, like eating snacks,
Oh,
like
snacks for
down, like
days.
the family's asleep, like whatever. Like I'm in there during the day. So like, yeah, it will be hard for me to even be kind of. But I do understand the thing in the room. It's just like, girls, like, come on, you're gonna get crumbs all in your
Yeah,
bed,
I
like.
just felt like I got brand new carpet, man,
Yeah,
come on.
yeah, yeah, so I feel you there, man, so
Matty boy, Matt Campbell, what about you, man? What season of your life are you in?
I'm in like the season of change. This year marks April 16 marks 4 years of being in Indiana. On the 20th, we're moving to a new house. We closed on our house in a new house. So literally the season of change. We're closing chapter 4, starting chapter 5 in the new home in Indiana. Um, and then just prioritizing the kids a little bit more. I think the goal by the end of this year is for my wife to stay at home with the kids because we do feel like our days are numbered with their childhood. And we feel like, I mean, poor Cash has been in daycare his whole life pretty much. And like we want those years back and we want to preserve those years as much as we can before he gets into like elementary school. So the changes are good changes, but it's a lot of change. New house, new way of life, new prioritization. So it's a fun season that we're going to be approaching.
Yeah. No, but I
and
know
dude,
you've been
Matt
so busy, dude.
yeah, and dude, Matt, props to you really quick, only because like, moving like that, see, it's completely different for me, like, I'm still like, if you would have never left, like, Cali, like, that's how, like, my situation is, like, I literally like, where I live now, like, I could just get my car and drive to my childhood home like 20 minutes away, like where I grew up, and then like my parents, Chloe's parents, so like, you guys living, in a different place basically since what, like Cash was like what, like one or
Yeah, like
born
6 months.
or
Yeah.
yeah, and so like I think for you, I think about that sometimes just being in a new place, even though it's been 4 years, it probably still feels just pretty new when you've lived somewhere else your whole life. And then also that the house thing, by the way, congrats. That's like
Thank you.
huge. But I know that's a whole nother thing. Even if you have no children, even if you have no spouse, like just selling a house, buying a house, like that is a whole like
Yeah.
just just hurdle to overcome right there. Just emotional in every shape and form. So yeah,
Yeah, I
man.
mean, we talk about this all the time, like with our wives being like a real boss, right? The CFO, the
Yeah.
CEO, chief growth officer, obviously, making babies, having babies.
I think that's the right title. Isn't that the best title for our wives? Like, yo, you're in charge of making sure that we all continue to grow into better human
Dude,
beings, like
yeah, we continue
functional
to
in
like
society.
yeah, that we continue to, like, move, like, in general, just,
Yeah.
like, that we don't just become, like, entwined into the bed or the sofa, just, like, waste away,
But I
dude.
don't
Our
know.
wives are the chief growth officers of our family.
Good job, babe.
But yeah, she's handled pretty much everything. I think my only job is transferring utilities over into the new house, and she's got everything
Solid.
now. Yeah, I think I can handle that. I think that's doable. But um, yeah, like when Lauren and I were first like getting married and like engaged and everything. I mean, I was working real estate and like kind of a dead end, like family owned job, right? Like family owned business. And I know she's been the real reason why I feel like I've progressed in my career, just constantly pushing me, constantly trying to be as good as her in her career. And I'm sure you guys all feel the same way, where it's like
Oh, for
that's
sure,
why number one, and then I have two and three, a couple years later. So it's been fun.
bro.
Dude, that's a
When you
yeah, that's a great point.
sorry,
Go, Chris. No, you go.
now I was gonna say, when you said my one job was to put utilities in my name, the first thing that I thought of was when I moved from my first house to my second house, I had my 2 kids, my wife had to go to work, and I guess it just, like, slipped our mind with respect to putting utilities in any of our name. Like, we're less than 48 hours deep, but I guess Texas acts fast, and so I knew that I had the day off, and I knew both the kids were home, but I also knew that my wife had to go to work. So I wake up at 7 in the morning, turn on all the lights, try to get it going, and literally at 7:15, it's still dark outside. Zoom,
Oh no.
everything powers off. And like my house was a disaster. We loaded the entire Utah U-Haul truck like just into my entry foyer, if you will. Um like, couches are not where they're supposed to go. Oh, that's supposed to go upstairs to a bedroom. Like, it was you couldn't even walk around, and it was felt dark outside, and my power goes off. I won't lie to you boys, just bursts out crying. I was just like, "Dude,
I
after I just emptied this whole house, my ambition for today was, like, to wake up early, get it all out from the truck into this, and now this, like, bright lit house where I can see what's happening. I just lost everything. My kids are tripping out because it was midnight dark in this house, and I called dude, I called Mel, and just boo-hooing so hard, bro. It was like it just 'cause it was 48 hours of hard work just to move the crap out, you know? Like, now I gotta and within 15 minutes, dude, she's shoots me a text. "Hey, I just got off the phone with the energy company. Give it 5 seconds." Literally, as I'm reading the text, zoom,
dude, I wish
lights
Chloe
just
could I
turned
wish
back
Chloe
on,
could hear
and
this story.
bro, that shit made me cry even harder. I was, "Oh my god. Thank you. Thank you." Well, I feel you with those utilities, Matt. Don't forget about the utility
Yo,
bill,
oh yeah.
alright?
I gotta put a note in my calendar now.
Yeah, dude. Bro, it just broke me spiritually, mentally, ambitiously. I was toast. That's
But
so funny, dude.
dude, Matt, I think Matt, you said something cool about your wife, like, really making you better when you were working like real estate, kind of, pretty much like dead end. Because dude, when I met Chloe, we were both working at the mall. She worked at the Apple store, which is like, if you're working retail, working the Apple store, that's like cream of the crop. I mean, that's pretty legit right there, working at the Apple store. I was working at Vans. So, I was like, hey, man, what size shoe you wear? 10? I can go in the back and check, see if we got a 10, man. But dude, that's what I was doing. And I was doing nothing. I was just like, dude, stockroom supervisor, bro. Like, yeah, man, I'm here at Vans, like, and I met Chloe, we started dating, and it wasn't like this was the first thing she said, but after a while of dating, it was kind of like, hey, if we're gonna get serious, like, are you planning on working at Vans forever? And to be honest, I like hadn't even gave it much thought because I was also a degenerate at that time, just doing a bunch of other terrible things. So I was just like, oh, it's a good question to think about. And so that was what led me on the path to become, who I am now, being able to take care of a family and stuff. And I know for sure that if it wasn't for Chloe, that, yeah, man, I still would have just been some just pile, dude. I mean, I'm still a pile sometimes, but at least I'm her pile now. I got a family. I'm a family's pile.
You're a
Like,
family
yeah,
pile. Yeah.
so shout out to all the wives who, you know, make I think that's that's the best quality. I think, hopefully each person does that for each other, pushes you to be better, pushes you to become, the best version of yourself. So,
And
good
Chris,
point
before
there,
you
Patty.
were at obviously collecting now, but see before you were at CPK, was there a moment for you that like obviously you climbed the ranks there and you were proposed to like lead bartender to like general manager? Like, was there a moment for you where like, oh, I need to switch career paths?
Oh, for sure, bro. And like that was the first comment I thought of when Warren said something is straight up. I had proposed to Melissa, and so now she's my fiance. And she started forecasting, thinking bigger picture. Someday we're gonna have kids. And she just straight up was like, "Hey, how about, like, trying to get a big boy job?" Because at that point, dude, she had her master's of education. She was already a counselor at a Los Angeles Unified School District, elementary school or middle school, rather. Like, she was already highly
Yeah, she was like, you
academically
she was like, "You see me,
credentialed and
match my energy, Chris.
dude,
Match
I
my."
didn't have any of that stuff. Are you kidding me? I was working at a restaurant and coaching soccer at a college in the morning, and those 2 salaries combined were, like, maybe 30K if I was lucky, you know what I mean? So similar to Warren, she had that tap on the shoulder that was like, "Yo, if we're being serious, let's try to be serious," you know what I mean? And so I went on Indeed and got the first place that would let me interview with them, and it ended up being Cedar and a collection agency, and that's kinda all she wrote from there.
Indeed. Gosh, what a name drop. Wow,
Bro,
I haven't
like,
heard
I
Indeed
this
in
is before I
forever.
knew what
Yeah,
the
no,
heck
I would've
LinkedIn
I
was,
think I've,
and
like, checked Indeed before, but I'm just saying now thinking about, "Oh, let me hop over to Indeed.com." I mean,
dude, it was gross. It was very, like, there's no such thing as a sales tech stack. I don't even know what that is. Like, my wife just asked me to work in an office and wear a nice shirt to work every day, so, maybe, let me try that.
so you delivered, baby.
Yeah, I mean, it took 10 years, but your boy delivered. I showed
Yeah,
up
but
for it.
no, what I'm saying is when you got that job, you had to show up and, like, right? I mean, you had to show up and, like,
Yeah,
wear,
dude,
like,
I was,
so
like,
that's what I mean.
tied
It's
to
like you went
work.
from, like, that to, like, getting the job, and then you're like, "I'm working at Cedar Financial
Yeah,
now,"
man. I
like,
had to
"Oh."
commute in the morning. What the heck was a commute, bro? You don't commute to soccer practice, but you definitely commute to the office.
That's
There's a
right.
difference.
That's so funny, dude. I applied to advertise purple on Indeed, and now like
Yeah, man.
place I check or anyone checks for jobs these days.
Not knowing what we know now, like, hell no, I won't go to Indeed.
I should have known.
That's hilarious. No, I mean, look,
No,
Indeed,
it's fine. If anybody from
you gave me
Indeed
my first
sees,
opportunity.
holler
We
at us,
can't
dude, like,
Yeah. Good. Thanks, Warren. Way to bring us back home. Indeed, don't this isn't a sleight of hand. We appreciate you. All right. You
we
showed
do.
up. That's so funny, dude.
Now,
Um,
you guys obviously went from retail to sales. Chris, I know you eventually wound up in sales after a couple of years. Were your wives concerned about like the risk that sales has in the beginning phases of that, or were they more like stoked about the opportunities that they brought?
I think I think, I think the risk or the perceived risks were just outweighed anything else much more, meaning, it's kind of like, yeah, sure, anything is a risk if you look at it, but take this leap into this new career. that could be a lot more fruitful. Of course, you need to do it. Even if you go fail, I mean, what is the alternative? You're gonna you're gonna sling shoes at Vans and top out at whatever. Which again, there's nothing wrong with that. I know. I still talk to a lot of really awesome people who are still involved at Vans, and some of them have even worked their way up into like running like multiple districts and regions, which is like super sick. And I still wear Vans. I love Vans, but for me, it was like, yo, this is scary because that's a great point, Matt. I was scared. I'm sure Chloe was probably just like, whatever. I know you can do this. You'll be fine. But dude, I was like scared shitless. Like I was just like, dude, like I'm
Yeah.
gonna go. Like I gotta sell. Like I can't just show up and be like, yo, Warren, like grab the freaking shoes and like bring them out. This is more like, yo, you gotta like show up and like hit some like
Yo,
hit
do you
some
want the
stuff.
shoes or like what?
Yeah, right, right. But like you're more like if you don't get the sale, they're just kind of like, yeah, like that idiot wasn't ready to buy any shoes. Like, like and that's your boss probably like saying that. Or the worst you could get from your boss is like, dude, you gotta upsell the socks with the shoes. I'm like, what if homie's like a no socks kind of guy, like wearing his slip-ons without socks? Anyways, so when I started in sales, I was definitely more like scared than anything because I was just like, man, like, I've always wanted to be good at everything that I did. And so I just went in and tried to make sure I could do that. But I think Chloe was more just excited, like, oh, this is going to be great for him. It's almost like she knew before I did that how great it was going to be for me. And dude, it was like, it was one of the greatest things ever. And the rest is history, as they say. So, yeah.
That's fire.
What about you,
What
Chris?
about you, Chris? I want to hear your answer now.
You know what? With respect to Mel's perception, she was the same. Like just flooded me with confidence. Oh, this guy could do whatever. And so I was a lot more like nervous and scared, but it was a different kind of trajectory for me. So I didn't enter sales until my fourth position at Cedar. I was a reception agent, and then I went into something called a skip trace department where I was just finding contact information on consumers. And then I went into the RPC department, which was like right party contact, working on validation kind of scripture when you're actually talking to delinquent parties. And then I was a collector. Um, and then after I was like not being an awesome collector, like, let's be honest, dude, I think I'm a little bit like I'm a wimp. And so I side with people. And if you can't pay, be like, sweetheart, you don't need to pay. We'll take care
Yeah,
of it.
you need to show
That's
up like
not,
you need to show up like the real collectors,
yeah,
like,
that's not
"Yo,
like a
Tony
good,
Soprano, I'm
good
here to
collection
collect."
strategy at all. So then I hit sales as bottom of the barrel. But every new position that I would grow towards, I got a higher. I was still on salary or hourly then. I got another pay bump, and it was like $5 each time. So whether or not I was good at sales was kind of overshadowed by the fact that, hey man, I'm still working 40 hours a week, but I just got 5 extra bucks added to my hourly paycheck. And that's dope when you look at it in the longevity. So I think she was just more stoked for that. And then it wasn't until maybe 9 months or 10 months after I was a sales rep that I got like my first real commission check. And we just kinda had that sit down on the couch like, "Hey, wait a minute. If if you're this is if you're pretty good at this, like, this could be something that you do." Um, and then it took off from there. And now she she's still my biggest cheerleader, but and I'm sure your wives do as well, especially if, like, they went to college, they're well credentialed, like, my wife has a master's, and my monthly paycheck without any real college significance is like 3 times what she makes, and so now I'm the butt of most of the jokes, with her just being super ruthless about the fact that I decided to get into sales and I was accidentally good at it because she's like, "We're still paying off master's student loans." You know what I mean? And I like, to my name, I
Nothing.
got nothing, dude. I didn't. I didn't go that route. So that's hilarious. Um, all right, look, I want to stick on the whole like this is the season of your life and gosh, Matt, I think that was really like a brilliant comment. I don't think that you even mentioned it intentionally. It just came off the cuff where you're like, "You know what, dude, you need to look at it as different seasons. Nothing's going to be the same forever." And so with that, um I wanted to ask you guys, and I'm not even sure the answer yet either, so hopefully somebody answers first. Like the same way that seasons change, what is something that after becoming a father, whether it's the way that you are a parent to your kid or the way that you conduct your lifestyle, like what is a high school, college belief that has changed as you entered into this more like corporate adult phase of parenthood and like now you're responsible for a bunch of stuff. Like what's a massive belief, you know? Something where you're sitting in 11th grade honors math class, which never
Probably
had
the
the
wrong
privilege
guy,
of
dude.
attending.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
wasn't
I
on.
didn't I wasn't in that class, by the way.
I don't think
And
any
you're
of us were.
going, "This is something I believe in." And now as a parent, you don't believe in it anymore.
I can go because I have something like I actually it wasn't quite 11th grade. I mean, it was like definitely, it was like very early, like 20s probably. So like, after shortly after I was like out of high school and stuff. And it's funny, I think I was even like dating Chloe at the time because our dating saga is very like, but all on me, just like, kind of like, oh, like we're hanging out, Chloe. Like, this isn't like an official thing because I was a dirtbag, so I was always like looking to kind of do whatever I wanted. I was selfish, but anyways, like I even remember like I just had no desire, this will sound kind of crazy, but I had no desire to have a family or get married or anything. I thought that was like what I dreamed about literally was like being single, having like living in like a penthouse in the city. I don't know why. I just thought that was so sick.
It
Having
would
like,
be sick.
just
Don't
crazy. Yeah, for sure. But like
don't kid
having just
yourself.
like, cars and just basically all the things which I suppose there's nothing wrong with that, but that was literally how my mind was. And I was like so dead set on like, that's going to be my life. Like, I'm never going to be this dude who like marries up and just like has kids and like does all these things. I'm just going to be this free spirit. And then I don't know what happened, dude. Like I was dating Chloe on and off, and then I finally just had a realization. I think I saw a picture of her or something. I was just like, dude, like I was like, this has like been like the best person in my life. And I was like, and if I don't like straighten up now and like come correct and come serious to the table and like actually like put all my cards on the table right now, then like one day somebody else is gonna marry her.
Yeah, Imma
Someone else is
lose
gonna
this.
Yeah, I was like, somebody else is gonna have an amazing family with her, build an amazing life and like get all that amazing love, and it's not gonna be me. And dude, once I said that to myself, dude, I was done. Like I cashed in all my all my whatever you want to call it,
Yeah,
and I went to her and I had to like work at it, because I had already like spoiled the relationship a bunch. But I did. I did everything that I could, and then we ended up getting married. But it's funny you mention that because when I was younger, I don't know why I was just like
that
I
just
wanted to be
wasn't
a
in the
bachelor
cards.
forever. Like, and I
Yeah,
didn't wanna have a family, and now I feel like I'm such a family man, and, like,
you
obviously, I
are,
could never
bro.
picture my life without my children or a family, and now I just want the opposite. I just wanna have I have 3 kids. I mean, you guys will think I'm crazy, but, I'll
Let's
take
go,
3
baby.
I'll take 3 more, like, I
Let's
mean,
go.
but anyways, like, it's just, it's just funny that you mentioned that because Chloe she brings that up sometimes and she's like, "Don't you think that's crazy?" And I like to be able to tell you guys because there's not many people from my past life who know those stories that I still talk to. So some of those people have, even passed on. They're no longer even here, like, that I share
Yeah.
those stories with, so they don't even see me now, but I know the ones that I used to hang out with, maybe they see me through social media and they're like, "Dude, I can't believe this dude
Yeah,
of all
that's
people
the
has
same guy. I
3
remember
daughters
him.
and is
Back
married."
alley,
Yeah.
t-shirt all ripped to shreds, skateboard to the side. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, so that's a really great, like, question, and that would be my belief is that I didn't wanna have a family at all. I just wanted to
Yeah.
be by myself. I
That's
wanted to be
dope,
like a
man.
lone pirate out there, dude. Just
That's dope. And it's kind of
yeah,
the magic of you finding Chloe and,
yeah,
that's like that's all she wrote.
yeah, my
That's sick.
saving grace, dude. So,
That's sick, dude.
yeah,
Maddie, I want to hear about yours because Maddie, for those of you guys who don't know, Maddie has a bit of a different circumstance with respect to his relationship and history with Lauren. Like, Warren, you didn't go to high school with Chloe, did you? That was a very after the fact introduction.
yeah, very after the fact, and I married a bit younger fellas. Chloe's 7 years younger
All
than
right,
myself.
get it
So, like,
done.
even if we
Get
were
it done.
gosh, yeah, it makes me sound bad, but it's okay because 'cause we're older now. But in
No,
high
no,
school years, that would
but that's
so anyway,
that's a
but no,
cool
I
supple.
never yeah, I only met her after she was already, like, 18 or 19 at the time. But yeah, our
No,
gap
you're
was
safe.
way too
You're
big.
safe, bro. Come on, you're safe.
But it would have
Um,
been cool. I think that's cool. I grew up with kids, like, who, like, dated each other in, like, middle school, dude. They,
well,
like, knew
that's
each other.
where I want to pick on Maddie a little bit. So my circumstance is maybe close to Matt's, but not nearly close. So my wife is a grade older than me. She's a year older than me. I tried 3 times in high school and she rejected me all 3 times. And then there was a long period of time before I think it was like it wasn't Tinder, it was one of the early ones, like OK Cupid, and then, finally 4 times the charm. But with Matt, you and Lauren started dating in high school?
Yeah, when I was 17.
That's why so in terms of, like, the things that you believed then, perhaps about how your future would end up or just like what you thought your life was going to be like, what, talk us through some of the things that are like, yo, bro, when we were dating and I was in 11th grade, phenomenally different to my opinions and beliefs and where we are now. What is that like, dude?
Well, my life is completely different from back then too. Like I was playing ball, I was getting, scouted by professional teams, went Division 1. I was like getting, I wouldn't say offers left and right, but I had colleges in my home. I had pros. I was meeting like pro scouts for just random like coffees at Panera at 17 years old. I thought that was gonna be my life. And honestly, like, getting into college and learning, like, the business side of baseball and the political side of baseball, it's like, I I'm good, but I don't necessarily feel like this is what I wanna do. So then I started taking school a little bit more seriously. I think what is fundamentally different than what I believe in college than now is trying to make as much money as you can and, like, not spending any time with the kids. Like, I always thought, like, you see those dads in movies and, like, sitcoms where they're, like, in a suit and tie with the briefcase, always on the Bluetooth, like, I was like, "That's how you provide for your family. That's how you show up. That's what you need to do." And I told you guys we're in this season of, like, transitioning out kind of out of that, where, like, my wife takes home really good paycheck, and we're like, "That's not what's important in our life right now." It's not, and it's the kids, and it's, like, being there for them and watching them grow up and being a part of that, as opposed to shipping them off to daycare from 8 to 5, and we miss all that time with them. Um, so I think that's what's fundamentally different between, like, my early 20s and late teens to now.
Yeah. No,
Dang,
dude, I think
that's
that's
good,
such a
dude.
unique
That's really good.
perspective. There's a special type of magic to use that expression high school sweethearts. And like I know Lauren personally, I love her. She's so dope. And just to see like this family that you guys are creating together because you both are just lunatics in your own right, especially with like my relationships with you guys. It just like it really is an awesome thing to see like, hey man, we wow, we figured this out and we're doing pretty good, huh? Like we're doing all right. This is dope.
Yeah, but then it's like, dude, we're doing dope at what cost? You know, and I feel like that cost was again like the whole reason why we started this is that so we can be there for our kids, you know,
Yeah.
and like celebrating that and like having those weird and uncomfortable conversations with your spouses to be like, yo, like, are we doing what we should be doing? And yeah, obviously we were, right? We're providing for our family and like we have the means to do that and beyond. But, you know, taking a step back and, you know, we're not going to get this time forever. You know, like
Yeah.
we're only 4 years old for 1 year, you know, and like how many days did we miss because of daycare when they were 2 and 3? Like, that's kinda like
So having kids really like messed you up mentally in terms of what your not messed you up like in a good way.
yeah,
Like
yeah, like,
where your ambitions and your thought process and you're like, "Yo, dude, every single thing just changed right now."
dude, I would say it changed in the last 2 months. Never once you know, Lauren's talked to me a lot, "Hi, sweetie," about wanting to stay home with the kids, and I'm, like, kinda just, you know, shrugged it off, like, "You're just having a tough season at work, right?"
Yeah.
That sure, that's part of it, but, like, when you strip everything back, it's like, dude, we just miss our kids, you know? And,
Yeah.
like, let's find a way for us to not have to feel like we're missing out on a lot of things with our kids, and so that's prompted this whole season of moving and then new house, kind of figuring things out, going a little bit leaner, but for the right reasons.
Yeah. No,
I think
that's
that's
great,
great,
dude.
dude, because dude, so many people out there, like married couples of like 40 years who are super old. Guess what? They have that realization, but after they're
Yeah.
they're literally like, they look at each other one day, they're like, like, yeah, our kids are fine. Like they grew up, they had their own families, but dang, like, I think we really kind of got that wrong. And so, I think that's awesome that and that makes me that really like makes me sad for for those people because that's like a heavy weight, you know what I mean? They're just like, hey, like, like you said about the dad with the briefcase, like, hey, I was out there crushing, I was providing, but it's almost just like, but dang, dude, like, I think I missed a little bit of what it was really about. Like, yeah, sure, do what you need to do so you can like take care of your family if they're not like living on the street or whatever. I mean, I never remember any of my kids. Now they're younger, but I never remember. Hopefully, they never do. But I never remember any of them like, "Hey, we'll see this paycheck, pops." Like
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
more just like, "Hey, pops, like, take me to the park.
Right.
Play on the ground with me right here." Like so I just think that's really cool because I know for sure there's so many older folks out there who are just like, dang, I think we really got that wrong. And they have to sit with it. There's literally nothing they can do. Maybe they tell their kids, like, hey, like, don't do what I did. Like, spend more time with your kids, as much time as you can. So
Yeah, and it's easier said than done, right? Like, if
yeah,
you
for
like,
sure.
it's so tough to come to that decision. Luckily, I have
Yeah.
a bunch of friends are in that position that I s you know, you hear about, man, the wife is the CEO, the CGO, like we talked about earlier. It's like they run things and, like, their life is so much smoother because they have time to do all that and be with the kids and, set yourself up and the family up, like, I don't know, it's a different mindset, and I'm excited because I know my wife's gonna kill it. She's just good at everything that she does.
No, for sure.
Oh,
I
gosh.
love
I
that.
bet
Come
they
on.
are,
I
dude. They
love
crush.
love, guys.
They crush, dude.
I won't lie, Warren. After your comments about kind of like making that pivot and focusing on the kids and understanding the complexity behind it, um, I couldn't help but think of our boy Nicholas Howe, who was on the cast a couple weeks ago, like
Yeah, man.
because whether it has to do with your job and making a tough decision or the actual, like, culture and logistics of your home and making a tough decision, that, like, dude, when you have a kid and that mental shift just occurs instantaneously, um, I couldn't be more proud to be friends with somebody like Nicholas because, like, you think calling the shots at work is hard. Calling the shots with respect to the home team organization, like, phenomenally more difficult. And so it just made me think, like, that's a very, no, nobody has a belief structure where that's what they're identifying should be the nature of their lifestyle, right? But at the same time, you'll do anything to protect and harvest this beautiful young child that you've brought into the world. So, quick shout out, Hugs. You already know him. He was on the show a couple weeks ago. I was going to answer this question, but to be fair, I feel like my answer is super similar to Warren's. Like, my belief system, uh, when I was in my early 20s and all through high school, I couldn't even
It was a
envision
blur.
what, yeah, dude. I couldn't even envision what I might look like or what I might be doing in terms of a job or anything forecasting for the future. Like, that was just a blank. I feel like, what's the rock star age? 27? Um, I feel like my mind could only compartmentalize what I would be doing up to the age of 27, and then it was just a black stone after that. And so, it's no secret, I had some uncharacteristic attributes to my childhood. I was touring in a band, I was staying out into ungodly hours at nightclubs, playing music, and, like, that was just the nature of my world until I met my wife, Mel, and she literally saved my life. And the moment that that pivot of, "Holy shit, you just saved my life," it just flooded with rationalization at, "Dude, I can picture myself beyond the age of 27, and it's it is suit and tie, and I look like somebody who might be respectable, and like, holy shit, what did you just do to me in my mind frame? Because I was only headed one direction, and at that time, I was pretty comfortable with that direction, dude. I was having a great time. But it just completely opened my eyes up to this completely like Robert Frost road less traveled by. And it just messed me up forever. And I'll be forever grateful. So
Yeah, dude. Our story is very similar. You were like bands, I was like skateboarding, but
yeah.
all of that kind of like crosses into a lot of other
We were, dude,
bad
if we were
things.
in the same state, we would have run into each other for sure. As the
But
same culture all day.
that's cool that you say that because it's like you when you met her, it's like the possibility you were like, you were like, this kind of life is possible for me. I don't know if you felt like that, but maybe you didn't even think about it, but you were just almost like, I just don't think that like something like that is like really for someone
I
how I
I had
am. Like
wrote it
you
off.
almost were
Yeah.
scared to like, even if you had the opportunity, you were like, nobody would really want to be like, in my family or like if I did have a family of my own, like I would just like, burn it to the ground. And like, I know it's kind of
You're
heavy to
spot
say,
on, dude.
but like, yeah,
I
that's
wasn't even thinking that big. Like, I was
yeah, you
so
almost, like,
deep.
don't wanna think about that because 'cause you're like, "Oh, like, that's not for me," because, like, I already know, like,
Yeah,
that would just be, like, not a good, like,
because 'cause I'm
situation.
set in my ways, I'm in the throes of addiction, I'm so deep down the well right now that, um,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
can't
pretty
think
much.
beyond 27, dude. I'm trying to think, like, up to next week, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was
Um
day to day, man.
Dude, and so it just totally once I, got super healthy and got back into, like, faith and church and started taking on these activities that were hyper uncharacteristic of me from the previous 10 years past, dude, it just changed everything, bro. So,
I love
bro,
that.
I love my wife, man. She's so dope.
What would you
That's what I had to
guys
say.
What would you guys say to yourself if you guys were to go back to those times?
Dude, I think I would just say, that, that, like, you're worthy of, having that life. I think I spent so many years, like, I would really almost, like, I would just burn, like, all my relationships to the ground. You know why I did it is because I was always scared that, like, it might, and it wasn't just with, like, when friendships, like, whatever, like, even, like, family members. It was just like, yo, like, before, like, and it's such a toxic thing, like, before they can get me, like, I'll just get them. And, like, I know that sounds, like, so terrible, but, like, that was just, like, I was just in, like, such a bad place for, like, a long time. But I think I would just say, like, "Dude, Warren, like, like, deep down, like, you are, like, a really great person. You just, like, going through all these things, and, like, you're worthy of, like, this much more beautiful, much more fulfilling life than all of these surface level things that you want." Just, like, you wanna just, like, when I think about what I say I used to want, I literally laugh. I'm like, "Oh, what a clown." And, like, that's not a bash on, like, anyone who lives that life now, like, cool. But, like, for me, I'm just like, I can't believe, like, that's what I thought was, like, cream of the crop, when, like, really what I'm living now is absolute, just, like, top tier. So that's what I would say
Yeah.
is just, the self-love, and just you're worthy of, those things. And yeah, damn, that's a great question, bro. I'm glad I got my glasses on, man. Dude.
Yeah. Lay it out, Warren. Let us hear it, bro.
But that's emotional, man, for real. Like, look, reaching back in that time. But I think that's really good and really healthy to do that too.
No, for
So,
sure. I'll hit you with one, Maddie, and maybe this is an unpopular response. Um, if I was given the opportunity to go back to Chris way back when and say something, I wouldn't say anything at all. I wouldn't take the opportunity to shed any bit of light. And here's the reason is I've always been a man of extremes. Take it to the extreme. And so on that pendulum during that time, I was exercising the most negative and abusive and unhealthy side of the extreme. But if there was even a 1% possibility that I was gonna get to balance it out and then start to focus that extreme on, like, building myself and building my work life and my family, I knew just inherently that I would take it to the nth level and I would be extreme. Um, and not to mention, I wouldn't say anything because I feel like I'm going and my personality is so hard in the paint right now on the positive side because I know what boots in the mud was like going so hard in the paint on the negative side. And that's such a why and an attribute. And like, I'm so appreciative of this world and this extreme that I'm living in now because it's a stark difference and comparison to the extreme that I was at before. So I wouldn't tell that dude anything because I believe in that dude and someday that negative extreme was going to hit the balancing pole. And then I would get into the positive extreme. And this positive extreme side is so fucking fun, dude. So fun.
that was a great answer, dude.
Heck yeah.
And you are, dude. That's how. And we could maybe save this for another one, but that's how, like, addicts are, dude. That's why,
Word, dude.
like,
I'm
some addicts, like me, like, running, like, dude,
still
like, people are like,
addicted.
"What's with the running, dude?" And I just like, dude, you just, like, get it obsessed. But you have to
Yeah,
what's important is you have to get obsessed with the positive things, because if you get obsessed with the bad things, that's how you get
no,
that's where
for
we were
sure,
before. That's
dude.
where we were before. But Chris, I just love that answer, man, because that's just like, yeah, dude, it's just so true. And it's almost like, I don't know if you felt like this, but, like, maybe it's just like you knew that if those positive things or you hit that like balance, you almost like weren't ready yet to like you
Yeah.
almost were like, I don't want because you knew that you would go all in on that. And you were almost just like for whatever reason, you're like, dude, like I'm on this path right now and like this is what I'm doing. And you're almost like scared to like let yourself see that like light because you knew that you would just be like, dude, I'm gonna take it all the
Because then
way.
I'm gonna go so hard in the paint,
Right,
bro.
right,
Like,
but
I'm
I'm
gonna
also glad
go
that I'm glad that it did happen because, we
Me
also
too,
know the
bro.
other
Same
side of
for
the
you.
coin, yeah, so anyways, but yeah,
Um,
dude, that's a great answer and a great
there's
question.
gotta be some meme out there, not to, like, uncover too much, but there's gotta be some meme that's, like, anybody who was, like, previously what's the way to phrase this? I'll say a street dealer. If you got out of that life and you did choose to be an entrepreneur on the other side, like, bro's creative. Bro gets after it and knows how to build a business type of thing. And so yeah, man, it's just I substituted one extreme for the other, and that's why I wouldn't make a comment to myself because I don't regret anything. The terrible stuff, the terrible activities, like I probably needed that to be able to be getting to do what I'm doing today. So, Matt, great question, man.
Yeah, it was great.
So, all right, well, check it out, everybody. We're at about the 50-minute mark. We'll go ahead and let these hooligans get out of here. We are hanging out tonight with WD Warndevren's, co-founder of Dadgood Community in the house. You know him, you love him. You got your boy MC Matt Campbell, Chief Revenue Officer, overseeing all partnerships in the house. As always, my name is Chris Walcher. I am your Chief Pod Father of the Dadgood Community. We release episodes every Wednesday. Sometimes it's not a Wednesday. You know what? We're just a bunch of hardworking dudes and we're trying to do what we can. So I'll
That's right.
reframe. You'll get an episode eventually whenever it comes out, and we're proud to release it, baby. As always, you can catch us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and don't forget to check out your LinkedIn timeline for all the latest Dad Good community updates. Gentlemen, as always, been a hell of a ride.